Welcome back. Let's travel to London, where Juliana Olayinka is waiting to bring us up to speed with major market headlines coming from the UK this morning. Good morning, Juliana. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Bissy. In Chimeze's words, thank God it's Friday.
Yes, indeed. Thank God it's Friday. Well, the emergency loan scheme for businesses struggling to survive amid the COVID-19 pandemic has been revamped following strong criticism. What are the changes made in this scheme?
Well, there are some alterations, of course. A couple of weeks ago, when the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak, did announce these £350 billion worth of government measures, it was applauded at first, but now people have been going into the detail. There are several groups that feel that they've missed out. And one of those groups are particular types of businesses that earn quite a few millions, but not enough to have given them access to this scheme. One of the schemes was if you are earning over £500 million of turnover, the Bank of England were offering loans guaranteed by the Bank of England for up to 12 months. The other one, which is what we've discussed quite extensively on this programme over the past couple of weeks, is this consolidated coronavirus business interrupted scheme. And this was for companies that have a turnover of up to 45 million. So this new scheme, which was announced yesterday, is for businesses that earn between £500 million and £45 million. You will be able to access loans of up to £25 million, and it has been applauded. Of course, there are so many other things that the Chancellor has to iron out with that second scheme, the interruption business scheme, because several firms have complained that banks are not playing ball. The Confederation of British Industry wrote to the Chancellor yesterday, and they said of all the 40 lenders that are involved in this scheme, they have to denounce this personal guarantee. So if you're going for this loan at the moment, if you're one of the lucky few that are able to access it, you're having to put up your own house or your business to guarantee that you can pay it back. And the Confederation of British Industry is saying that this is not good enough. So as well as announcing this new scheme, the Chancellor also said that he will be ironing out all of the creases and the issues that firms have been complaining about over the past 10 days or so.
Well, let's talk about bus companies now in England. Of course, they're the latest to get a bailout from the UK government. What necessitated that bailout, which is worth £160 million?
Well, ever since Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced about 2 weeks ago for people to stay at home, it's a no-brainer that the bus services have completely plummeted. Nobody's really getting on the bus. Most people are using the tube, and these bus services have been complaining to their local councils that they just won't be able to survive, they won't be able to pay staff. And even though they are providing a skeleton service for some key workers, particularly those that work with the NHS, they are really the lifeline of them being able to get to work. So there has already been about 200 million put into bus services. The Chancellor and the Transport Secretary last night did announce that there would be this further £165 million, and that's just to keep the service going whilst people are staying at home. These bus services will also be offering social distancing measures, so if you do get on one of these buses, you won't have to sit so closely to people, and it has absolutely been welcomed, as I said, particularly by NHS staff, that some of them are relying on these bus services to get them to and from work.
British Airways has finally reached a deal to temporarily suspend more than 30,000 of its cabin crew and ground staff. Now, what is in this deal for staff who will be forced to stay home for like 2 months?
Well, this is an interesting story, and I suppose it will be a huge sigh of relief, not just for BA staff, but for BA themselves. BA, British Airways, owned by IAG. They are a heavily unionised airline carrier, not like their competitors in the UK, Virgin, Ryanair and EasyJet. Unite, that's the union that looks after their staff. Last night they were in serious talks because BA BA decided to furlough 80% of their staff, which is between 30 and 36,000 people. BA wanted to rely on the government scheme whereby the government pay 80% of your wages up to £2,500. Now, Unite were in discussions with BA because there are a lot of their staff who earn much more than £2,500 a month, and they didn't think it justified them staying at home for that amount. So now BA have come up with this arrangement with Unite. So they will be paying 80%, but not 80% of the government scheme, 80% of how much you are paid. And so it's seen as a win-win. They are still sticking with the furlough scheme, but they'll be paying some money on top for a few thousand of their employers. So, you know, it seems like a good day in the office for BA chief executives.
Very nice. Thank you, Juliana, for those updates. And do remember to continue to stay safe as you enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, Bessie.